Um, we are going to have an invocation from Councilwoman Lynch, followed by a Pledge of Allegiance from Councilman Brad.
Mr. Everson,
Here.
Mr. Jenkins, Mr. Corbin, Mr. Flurry,
Here.
Ms. Litch, here, and Mr. Bowman.
And I just want to make sure, I don't think the mics were picking up at the very beginning of the meeting. At least mine looked like it said it was muted. So just for the record, we did have an invocation from Councilman Bradford and a Pledge of Allegiance from Councilwoman Lynch. So we could just note that. And let's see, moving forward, I would entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
Second.
All right, we got a motion from Councilman Fleury, seconded by Councilman Bradford, to approve the minutes of the administrative conference meeting from Friday, September 4th, and the city council meeting on Tuesday, September 8th. All votes are in, and motion passes 4-0. Now we're at awards, recognitions of distinguished guests, and communications. Does any council member have any awards or recognitions of distinguished guests at this time? No awards. Well, does any member of the council have any general communications they'd like to have at this time? I'll just start by a special thank you to all of the city departments, primarily SPAR, but also the other support departments that helped with the Highland Jazz and Blues Festival this past weekend. It was a very successful neighborhood festival. It's just grown so much over the years, and it's just such a great way to bring people into one of our historic neighborhoods and enjoy a lot of great fellowship for a very diverse population in one of in my favorite neighborhood, because that's where I live. So want to appreciate everybody who helped make that happen, and certainly the organization that organizes that every year. We want to thank them for doing a great job. Also wanted to let's see. Something else I was going to say thanks for, and now I've forgotten. But one thing I will say is I want to thank Mayor Tyler's staff, particularly Mary and Africa, for getting together a proclamation for Miss Sanders, who is turning 104 today, one of Shreveport's most senior citizens. And she and her family were delighted to receive that proclamation, so they were really thankful about that, and I just wanted to pass on a thank you for that. All right, seeing no...
I will say, Mr. Chairman,
Yeah.
sort of parallel what you just mentioned, I want to thank the mayor and especially for coming, and SPAR for helping to provide some equipment for the 20th anniversary of the Simpkins Community Health and Education Center. We had a very nice affair, and everybody there was really pleased that the mayor was there to give expressions, as well as a proclamation. And likewise, in a very short time, the mayor administration provided a proclamation for Attorney Johnny Jones, who is a very legendary civil rights advocate of Louisiana, especially in the Baton Rouge area. He was a speaker at the Calvary Baptist Church on Sunday night, and we presented him with the proclamation, as well as other welcoming words from the city and from the parish. So it's always good that the administration can be very responsive in in a very timely way, and I appreciate that, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much. And I see no additional requests. So Mayor Tyler, at this point, do you have any awards, recognitions, or communications?
We have some communications, Mr. Chairman, and to other council members. First one, we'd like to invite council members, each of you, to come out to our Small Business Summit on tomorrow at the Convention Center. It will be held from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. tomorrow afternoon. We're hoping to give small business owners the tools they need to be successful in our city. And I want to thank Ms. Karen Burns for all of her efforts in getting the event organized. That's going to be tomorrow from 8 to 4 at the Convention Center. Also on Wednesday, we will launch a pilot program that expands the services we provide at our neighborhood suites. Inspectors for the Department of Property Standards will conduct a sweep in the Ingleside area Wednesday, September 24th in Council District F, and I believe that's Councilwoman Lynch's district. And this
part
month,
of it, I believe part of it's in District B as well.
is it? Okay, so we have 2 council members.
Fine council members.
Fine
Yes,
council members.
indeed.
Yes, ma'am. This monthly Clean Sweep program will expand to have the Department of Public Works fill potholes, sweep right-of-ways, remove illegal signs and graffiti, clean up dump sites, and remove trash from curbsides. We are not doing sweeps of neighborhoods to just cite violations anymore, but to work together with citizens to get the community clean and blight-free. But we want to thank Councilwoman Lynch for raising your concern about the way the previous sweeps had been done. And because of that concern, our Director of Public Works decided that he wanted to do something to be more engaging, so citizens will know that we're out there to be able to serve and to provide them assistance in getting their neighborhoods clean and beautiful. So thank you, Councilwoman Lynch, for bringing that to our attention and bringing that concern to us. Thirdly, on Thursday, our firefighters are back in the badge and serving their brothers and sisters in blue with a fried catfish lunch from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. at 263 North Common Street. I commend Chief Warburton and the SFD for showing their servants' hearts to our Shreveport Police Department brothers and sisters. So let's be sure to get all of our officers to stop by and get the meal and appreciation they so rightfully deserve. And I believe council members are welcome to come by and eat some fish also. Am I right, Chief Warburton? All righty. That's Thursday from 11 until 2 p.m. Also, the initial drawings are in for the dog park on Clyde Fant Parkway, and we want to hear from the community on these plans. SPAR will host a public meeting to review a draft plan for the dog park. The meeting will be held at 5:30 p.m. Wednesday, September 30th at the Stoner Boat Launch. Please invite your friends to come out and give us their input. That's our long-awaited dog park. And lastly, I just want to thank SPAR and all of those employees and Shreveport Police Department, Fire Department, and other support personnel for the work on the battle on the border last weekend, not this past weekend, the previous weekend. But we have a lot of good things going on in our city, particularly on weekends. Just this past weekend, we had Jazz Fest at Columbia Park, Digifest in the Red River District, Movie and Moonbeams at Chris Hayes Park, the Symphony at Riverview Theater, Gator Run at Captain Shreve, and several others. And I want to say that we had outstanding people from the department, from the city, working extremely hard to provide a good quality for all of the citizens and all of the visitors who came into our city. Those are the announcements. Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you so much.
I have a request to speak if I may.
Councilman Jenkins.
Just to dovetail on what the mayor just said, my mother has lived here a long time. She wouldn't appreciate if I said her age publicly, but she came to me last week and she said, you know, I do hear people sometimes complain that there's nothing going on in this city. And she said, you know, not that everything this weekend was her cup of tea, but she said it is amazing how many activities, in diverse activities, for no matter who the clientele is, that a city of our size provides. And I do think Liz is doing a good job of, marketing downtown activities. I do kind of wonder, for those that for some reason don't read the paper, don't watch the news, what our kind of marketing avenue is for kind of what's going on in Shreveport total. And I'm not saying this is a science project, but maybe we need some kind of and maybe there is one and I don't even know of it, that says, as opposed to just DDA activities, which there's a a weekly blast, something holistically that, and the chamber, not the chamber, the Convention and Tourist Bureau has something.
They do.
I just wonder if we're not doing a good enough job of making all these opportunities
Marketing,
available out there, marketing, and just global blast, because
and Brian is just talking about some of the things that we're doing, so why don't you tell them what SPAR does, and we'll talk about some of the things that we're doing, because we do want to market and get the word out so people will know that we have a lot going on, and we've attempted to do that with different media areas, but talk about
well, SPAR has most of those activities listed on their website that we're involved in from a city perspective, if we're providing any services at all, which most of those we are at some level, and SPAR is very much engaged in most of those, and they're listed on their website, and so we encourage them to go to the city's website and go to the SPAR department, and they can find all those activities listed in there, and sure they can find something for a little bit of something for everybody.
and I'm not, and I don't really have a great, that's more of a pull rather than a push,
Absolutely.
so to speak. And I'm sure Jeff knows all the latest technology or whatever's out there for how one does these type of things. But if it ever comes up,
Yes.
certainly holistically, we probably need a better public tool that when somebody says, well, I didn't even know about it, then I can say, well, I say read the paper. But
Yeah.
that's maybe a little bit of a stretch to really get people to do that. But anyway, it's just my thought, because it is impressive how many different things we have going
A
on.
lot going on, and we agree, and we're trying to find innovative ways to actually do a better job of marketing what all we do have in our city. So trust me, you're thinking along the same lines we are. We try to do the Facebook, we try to do press releases, we try to do a lot of times press conferences, we do various things on our website. But we still, and then we send it to the newspaper and they print, but we still are missing a certain part of the, city, because some people still say there's nothing to do, and we know that there are a lot of things to do. So we will look more holistically. We agree.
One thing we may want to do is, and I think we're doing it, is to start doing just what Oliver did, is saying, wow, I'm amazed that people don't always know how much is going on. And I hear a lot of that, and I didn't used to hear a lot of that. So at least there are people expressing to others. If you aren't clued in about what's going on in Shreveport, start looking. Start looking around, take a look and see what you can find out, because people didn't used to say that. And there really are a lot of events. Speaking as someone who tries to make it to as many as I can, it's exhausting. So it's there are quite a few events out there, and you do not have to be bored in Shreveport if you are, and one of the great things about that, I think, is for a city of our size, sometimes new residents can find it difficult to break into local culture. They can find it difficult to meet locals. But again, the people that I've heard from in the last few years have not found that to be the case. They've found it quite easy to make local friends in Shreveport because of the number of events and the opportunities that there are to get involved. So certainly a good cultural change that we've had, and something that we can continue to do is sort of sing that praise and use every method possible. I mean, everybody's just like anything else. 15 years ago there was one cable, and everybody had the same cable provider, and everybody had the same 30, 40 channels. Now we all have 6,000 channels and 7 different cable providers, you know, for satellite and dish and all those different things. So it's harder for anybody to reach everybody, but it's easier to reach specific audiences now. So, so it'll be a combination, and we'll try some things here and there. But certainly appreciate the point, which is that you know, I think we really as a community are doing a lot. Reminds me of going to a small liberal arts school. I went to Centenary College, and at Centenary there was a very, you know, small student body, but we had all of the activities and clubs and things that a large school had, and it just meant that everybody did more, you know, so.
I have one more announcement we forgot to put on the sheet. It is coming from the Shreveport Police Department. They're gearing up to host their annual open house job fair this weekend, and we want people to know about it, and it's Hiring Our Heroes is going to be the title. And if you're seeking a rewarding and exciting career in law enforcement, then the Shreveport Police and Fire Regional Training Academy is where you need to be this Saturday from 10 a.m. until 2 p.m. on September 26th. And members of the Shreveport Police Department will be present at the Shreveport Police and Fire Regional Training Academy located at 6440 Greenwood Road, offering tours and providing useful information into what it takes to become one of Shreveport's finest. So that's this Saturday at 10 o'clock out at the Police and Fire Regional Training Academy. Questions?
I have one just since the police chief was here and since you mentioned him. National Night Out, is it before our next meeting?
Yeah.
Or is this is our last meeting before National Night Out? And if it is, this would be a good time
It is
to
October 6th.
So this
Which
would
I
be
think we'll have a, yeah, we won't have a meeting till the 13th.
so we ought to get a plug in for that since
Right,
you and I just talked about that.
We encourage everybody to participate. Shreveport Bossier Night Out, actually we're National Night Out again, and just gives us another opportunity to reinforce our relationship with the community. If you want to have a block party or whatnot, just give us a call. You can call us at 673-BLUE, and they will forward your call to the Community Oriented Policing Bureau. And we'll get you set up, and we want to have more and more block parties than we've ever had before, because I think it's very important that we work with the community to be successful. Again, it's October 6th.
Now,
Thank
blue,
you.
wait a minute, blue is 2583.
Let's see.
Double check there.
That sounds about right.
One of
Let's
my
see.
phones has
Well,
it, and one
let me
of them
simplify
doesn't.
that for you. You can dial 673.
2583. Yeah, that's it.
Okay. Say it again, Council.
673-2583.
And if that doesn't work, 673-7300.
All right.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Wonderful. And
That's it. Thank you.
let's see. So I'm just looking at, and I apologize for, to be distracted. I was looking at the area of the sweep that's happening tomorrow for Police District 7. The police districts don't align exactly with the city council districts or in any way. And this particular police district, I think actually impacts about 4 council districts that sort of converge around there. So there'll be several opportunities, you know, whoever might want to come out for that one, I'm sure would be welcome. And,
Absolutely.
and appreciate the focus on improving what is already a really good plan. So, I mean, a program. So we certainly appreciate continued focus on that. At this point, we're at reports. Does any member have any questions or concerns relative to property standards that they need to address at this time? Seeing none, thank you, Terrence. And then we have received a revenue collection plan and a surety bond forfeiture report for this year, for this month already. And at this point, we'll have a presentation from Mr. Sweeney with the Master Plan Committee report.
Thank you. Just as to kind of bring you up to date, we are continuing to make progress on the review of the UDC zoning maps, which is one of the major stages in this process. The process is taking a little bit longer than we had anticipated because of the intricacies of our existing zoning and some of the complexities that we have on the ground. As we analyze each neighborhood and each section to match it up with the new zoning districts that will be created under the UDC, we're having to analyze those and take those apart to make certain that we do something that is acceptable to the public as well as the business community in general. So that is taking a little bit of time. We're also in the process of continuing to have our meetings with the stakeholders, but what we're finding there is we're having 2 and 3 follow-up meetings with those groups to make certain that we come to a compromise or to a solution to a problem that they perceive in the UDC. I want to make certain we get this right so that by the time we have the revisions placed into the UDC document for the next draft, that those things will have been addressed and everyone will be at least feel their concerns have been addressed and not overlooked. What that means now is that I had been saying that we were going to have the next draft in September. It will probably now be in October, more than likely. I plan to come back to you with kind of a revised schedule of what to anticipate as we go forward, when you can anticipate the documents being reviewed by public again, and also the review of the maps by the public, and then how that will schedule out in terms of when the MPC would hear the UDC for consideration, and how the timing would work for you as a city council and as well as the parish. So all of those are kind of moving parts that we're trying to bring together, and I will keep you up to date on those, and the next time you hear from me on this, I'll have those very much well tied down for you.
Great. I would like to make a suggestion, just is that maybe we have a meeting of the actual master plan committee between now and that time,
Sure.
so that those particular members who have been working in more detail on this project can get briefed and can kind of help brief their respective bodies on it.
That would be a good idea.
And then I would also say that I certainly think it is worth taking our time to get this right. And for those members, I know we've all seen drafts of the Unified Development Code. I'm sure everybody has seen something they really like, something they might not like, something they still have questions about. It is a huge law, so it is a big change, and I think it is well worth taking the time to get it right. Of course, we don't want to do analysis paralysis, we don't want to be in a state of perpetual preparation, but we do want to move it forward. But I think that y'all are staying on a good schedule, and I'm encouraged to hear that you are taking the input of the citizens. I know that that's not always easy to do in such an intricate law, so it is reassuring to hear that after the first round of meetings, I know some revisions were done, and then there was a second round of meetings, and we had different people that attended those meetings.
That's true.
So I'm pleased to hear that you're continually taking input and shaping the document in that way. I think that will help ensure that we have a better quality product, and we certainly look forward to working with y'all and moving that forward. And so I think it would be a good idea if we went ahead and had that master plan committee meeting, so we can be working with our respective bodies to find out if there's additional concerns, because we don't want some roadblock that's unanticipated.
I think that's a good idea, and we'll try to get something scheduled that'll help everyone accomplish that goal of getting all informed as where we're at and where we're going and what the next steps are.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much. Does anybody have any questions for Mr. Sweeney? No? Thank you. We appreciate it. All right. We do not have a public hearing today, so we'll move on to adding items to the agenda. Oh, you know what? I think, no, I'm good. I thought I skipped a section. Adding items to the agenda. Mr. Thompson, is there any legislation to be added today?
There are 4 items, Mr. Chairman.
Okay.
Resolution 175 will suspend certain provisions of Chapter 106 and Chapter 10 relative to dispensing, sale, and/or consumption of alcoholic beverages at El Karuba Shrine Temple, 6320 South Lakeshore Drive, for a triathlon. Resolution 176 suspends certain provisions of Chapter 10 and Chapter 106 of the Code relative to the sale, dispensing, and consumption of alcoholic beverages at 620 Texas Street for the Louisiana Film Prize Festival. Resolution 177 will amend Resolution number 97 of 2012 to allocate $400,000 to fund for repairs the concrete streets in Newcastle subdivision. And Ordinance 77 will amend and reenact Chapter 14 of the Code relative to livestock and will otherwise provide with respect thereto.
Okay. I'd like to ask if there's anybody here to. So this is where appropriate time for me to ask if anybody's here to speak for or against these.
Correct.
Is there anybody here today that would like to speak for adding these resolutions and the ordinance to the agenda today? Seeing none, is there anybody who is here today that would like to speak against adding these items to the agenda today? Seeing none, we will move forward, and I would make a motion to introduce or to add to the consent agenda Resolution 175, 176, and 175 and 176. Is that correct?
Yeah, why don't we just do those two and put the other two on the regular agenda, Mr. Chair?
Great. So we'll start with that, or can I make a motion adding all of them?
All of them with the understanding that 175 and 176 will be added to the consent agenda and the others to the regular.
That is my motion.
I still second it.
Wonderful. So motion from the chair, second by Councilman Jenkins. Good. Cast our votes. All votes have been cast and motion passes 6-0. Okay, now we are at public comments, and we have 2 requests to speak about items that are on the agenda. We do have some additional requests to speak about non-agenda items that will be heard at the end of the meeting. So if I don't call your name now, please know that that we have received some additional requests to be called towards the end of the meeting. I would like to call, let's see, Sammy Mears first, who is speaking on ordinance number 76.
That's correct. Sammy Mears, 1901 Centenary Boulevard, Shreveport, 71101. I was really glad to know that things have been going very good as of late for the... Okay. Sorry. Anyway, for the Little Free Library, I still believe that there's a good possibility that some people and even little kids will have the opportunity to see that when they are all taken care of, because I know that they'll be looking forward to taking a book and reading it and then coming back to put it back and then take another.
Absolutely.
Because the last time I got to speak about this, I was really in favor of this because I think it would be a good educational thing. Because when they say reading is fundamental, I don't know if that just means fun or how they define
or if it means
that.
mental, depending on what you're reading.
I see. Well, all I know is that that word does exist in the vocabulary or in the dictionary. But I'm just glad to know that people and even youngsters will get to do that, because when books like Salmon the Firefly or Green Eggs and Ham or One Fish, Two Fish, Red Fish, Blue Fish, and Hop on Pop or 10 Apples Up on Top, I remember reading those books a long time ago as I grew up. So it'll be good when people get to exchange one book for another.
Absolutely.
I like those books, and even I've gone to Barnes & Noble, and I still like to go back to the back, and even though I'm not one of them young kids, I can still be a big kid at heart, and I still might want to read one of them books.
Absolutely.
And it's probably my right as I see it. And no one is going to deny me from that if I want to read one of those books, because I just like to glance at it before I happen to go from Barnes & Noble over to CC's Pizza.
All right.
Thank you.
That's right. We appreciate your support, Sammy.
You got it.
Let's see, now we have Ms. Teresa Edgerton, also speaking on ordinance 76.
Good afternoon. Teresa Edgerton, 549 Wilkinson Street, 71104. Mayor Tyler, councilpersons, council chair. I'm here, as Jeff said, to talk about the Little Free Library once again. I'm going to concede the fact that every person in this room is in favor of books and reading. I'm even going to concede that probably no one in this room is against the idea of free book exchanges and little free libraries. I'm going to also assume that most people recognize the capacity for community building and positive outcomes for those who use the little free libraries, as well as those of us who have them in their yards. Where we have a total disagreement is how we treat these little free library book exchanges in Shreveport. As one person stated today in social media, it makes more sense that you might thank those of us who are providing this free public service rather than treating us as if we're doing something negative in our neighborhood. It's been said that if we had not offended one person out of the 200,000 who live in Shreveport, this would not ever have come to the city's attention, and thus regulations would not be necessary. It appears that someone complained that our little free library was a commercial enterprise back in November of last year. The MPC at that point could have done an on-site, out-of-vehicle inspection and determined that there was nothing commercial about this free book exchange and closed the book on the case. But that's not how it's been handled. The master plan states that Shreveport Caddo seeks to, quote, promote civic engagement of all community members, with an emphasis on engaging young people. It also states that we support the arts and culture as a source of community pride, and also that we make Shreveport Caddo a center of lifelong education and learning for its citizens, young and old. I contend that the little free libraries, the free book exchanges promote all of these things listed above, and that this ordinance indeed represents de facto discouragement of little free libraries and book exchanges in the future. The prior plot site plan that must be submitted, the $50 registration that must be submitted, and an on-site inspection after the fact to ensure that little free libraries or book exchanges are in compliance with these regulations are unduly burdensome and intimidating to those who might wish to exchange books with their neighbors. And I'm not sure that this is the best use of our resources and personnel in Shreveport. Thank you.
Thank you, Teresa. Could I just ask a quick question? Certainly, I think, we are all in agreement. Well, I mean, there are those that might not be, but I think most people are in agreement that these are a good.
There's one person
These are a
that's
good
not,
thing.
yeah.
Yeah, at least one person wasn't. But I think that what we're getting at here, and certainly every one of us lives in a slightly different setting. Our driveways are situated differently, our sidewalks are situated differently. There's different ways our houses all situate on a lot.
Right, and there's some, of course, that have brick pillars on either side of their driveway that
Sure.
may or may not be accessory structures, I'm not sure.
And there's, certainly brick mailboxes on a stick, mailboxes on a front door. I mean, there's all kinds of different things. We certainly see that. I know that in my driveway, I have to back down it. I can't turn around and drive down it front end. I'm coming out in reverse every morning, and every time I leave my house. So I think I can see why it is in the best interest of public safety to have some regulation of where they're placed, because if my neighbor chose to put a book exchange box right on the edge of their property, which comes right up to my driveway, I wouldn't be able to see children that were stopped at it when I was backing out of my driveway from the way it's situated. It would be dangerous, for those children, and it would obviously cause a liability for my neighbors and for myself. So that's just one example of where I can see why some regulation can be okay. We want to watch out for the public's interest, and we want to watch out for public safety. Certainly, I can understand your other concerns, and I hope that we'll have time to discuss those in the next few weeks before we vote for any passage on this, and hopefully we can address some of those.
Okay, and I don't know if there's a way to waive a $50 fee for those of whom who might be on fixed incomes who could afford a nice box, but may not be able to afford to subsidize the inspections and so forth. And I back into my driveway so that I always pull out.
I'm on a one-way street, so I can't do that. I'm on a one-way street, so I can't go backwards.
Yeah, I just pull up and then I back in at my husband's insistence after I almost ran over the man next door. So it does, you do want to be, I am for public safety.
Yeah.
And I did bring some comments. This is just maybe half of the comments that have been written and left in our little free library by our patrons, many of whom probably would not be able to access public libraries. So
great.
just thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you for that. We appreciate it. All right. Let's see. Those are all of the requests for public comments that we have at this point in time. Now we are at confirmations and appointments, and we do have two confirmations to be considered today, which are for the Municipal Fire and Police Service Board. Also, there was some discussion yesterday about the appointment of a member to the Shreveport Sports Authority, and there were some questions from the council about when the next meeting of the Shreveport Sports Authority is, and that next meeting is tomorrow.
Tomorrow, yes.
And so, if that is something that people want to consider, if there's an interest in suspending the rules to move forward with that appointment, that was something that was discussed yesterday, so I'm just going to share that with everybody. So we have the following confirmations to be considered. Mr. Thompson, can you please continue?
Mr. Ronnie Remedies and Ms. Jennifer Hill.
So moved.
Second.
All right, we've got a motion from Councilman Jenkins, seconded by Councilman Fleury. If I heard that correctly. For Mr. Ronnie Remedies and Ms. Jennifer Hill to be appointed to the Municipal Fire and Police Civil Service Board, and that motion passes 5-1.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
the mayor has also appointed Mrs. L. Dudley to the Shreveport-Bossier Sports Commission. If there is anyone who wants to...
Make a motion that we suspend the rules.
Okay. That motion is from Councilman Fleury to suspend the rules to consider the appointment of Zazelle Dudley, and that motion is seconded by Councilman Jenkins. And that motion passes 6-0. Okay, so now the rules are suspended. Is there a motion
I'll
to...
make a motion.
Okay, motion to appoint Zazelle Dudley, second by the chair,
Mr. Chairman.
and discussion.
Yes. I'm happy that we had a chance to vet Ms. Dillon yesterday. And I asked the mayor to look at when the next meeting was held, because we want to see if we have representation there. But I could understand in some instances where it would not be advisable for us to suspend the rules for every candidate for confirmation, because there was an instance maybe a month ago where there was a nomination for the Port Commission, and we found out later that confirmation, that nomination was ineligible. But I think this confirmation is safe. But I wouldn't want us to have that as a practice. But because the meeting is urgent and tomorrow, and I asked Ms. Dillon yesterday to look at an issue that is somewhat relevant to an upcoming event, that I would hope that we could get representation so that she can be a part of that meeting, so she could bring that to their attention to see if indeed there was a possibility that resources could be provided for the Red River game between Grambling and Texas Southern. So I'm asking that we support this nominee.
Certainly understand and appreciate those comments. I think that's an accurate thing to say, that we don't want to make a practice of suspending the rules for appointments. Fortunately, in this case, we had this particular nominee came to us at an early point. We were able to, ask some questions and do a little review already. But certainly we understand if anyone has not had a chance to review. I mean, obviously this is a suspension of rules. This isn't a common practice, so certainly vote your conscience, but is there any additional discussion? All right, seeing none, we'll call for the vote. All right, and we have got motion passing with 5-1. And that brings us to the consent agenda. There's no items under consent agenda for introduction, but we will have some items to be adopted. Mr. Thompson, can you proceed with those?
The items on the consent agenda to be adopted are Resolution 167, 168, 169, 170, 171, 172, and the two that were added, 175 and 176.
So moved for adoption? Did I hear somebody else? Okay, I'm sorry. I thought I heard maybe somebody else make a motion. And
I did, but
we'll give the motion to Councilman Bradford, and
Better get him on the record, prove he was here.
and seconded by Councilman Jenkins. I think was the second voice I heard. Just want to make sure I'm not speaking over anybody. And great, the motion passes with a 6-0. And we are now at regular agenda legislation. Let's see, Mr. Thompson, could you please proceed with resolutions on second reading and final passage?
Resolution 159 authorizes the acceptance of a donation of $12,000 from AEP Swepco.
So moved.
Second?
You have a motion from the chair, second by Councilman Bradford. And motion passes 6-0.
Resolution 160 authorizes the mayor to execute a donation agreement between the City of Shreveport and Larkin Development North LLC, enacting herein through Tommy A. Larkin, manager for the private water and sewer main extensions and related facilities to serve Esplanade Subdivision Unit 2, Phases 1 through 5.
So moved.
Second.
All right, motion from the chair, seconded by Councilman Fleury. And just as a point of information, we did, Councilman Corbin, in whose district this, some of these take place, is out of town for work today, but did send a message that he's supportive of moving forward with all of these. These are, again, this is a procedural acceptance of infrastructure that the developer has built that is up to our standards and expectations. Absolutely.
Mr.
Councilman
Chairman,
Bradford. Sorry.
thank you, and I had some reservations about this because of my 5-year interaction with this project of the Esplanade project and the developer. There was a lot of concern over the years on how this actually came to be, and that there were some issues with the way it was brought forward. But you mentioned that this does not impede the right of way of 3132 to the port. This action, this part of the development. Is that right?
Correct. This is not expanding any boundaries or adding anything new to any situation. Like you mentioned, there has been some controversy surrounding this particular neighborhood. However, these actions today are dedications of infrastructure that's been built already, and that's being donated to the city for continued maintenance.
It's a common practice that we do this.
Correct. Yes.
Thank you.
All right, and Councilwoman Lynch. Councilwoman Lynch, did you have a?
Oh, my question was, this is outside of the city limits currently, correct?
No,
Not
it's
this
Not
one.
this area,
Not this
not
one.
this particular
Okay.
track.
This is one you and I are talking about. We're
Okay.
now on these ones.
Oh, okay. Sorry about that.
Okay,
I'm looking wrong.
you good? All right, any additional questions, communications? Otherwise, we'll call for the vote. I think we're almost there. And motion passes 6-0.
Resolution 161 also authorizes a donation agreement with Larkin Development LLC for water and sewer main extensions to serve Esplanade Subdivision Unit 3.
So moved.
Second?
That's a motion by the chair, seconded by Councilman Jenkins. The motion passes 6-0.
Resolution 162 also authorizes a donation agreement between the city and Larkin for private water and sewer main extensions for Esplanade Subdivision Unit 4.
So moved.
Second.
Who seconded the motion?
It was seconded by Councilman Jenkins.
That's what I'm saying.
And motion passes 6-0.
163 also authorizes an agreement with Larkin Development LLC for private water and sewer main extensions for Esplanade Subdivision Unit 5.
So moved.
Second?
And that is a motion from the chair, seconded by Councilman Jenkins. Motion passes 6-0.
Resolution 164 also authorizes an agreement with Larkin for the private water and sewer main extensions for Esplanade North. I'm sorry, private water main extensions for Esplanade North.
So moved.
Second? Sorry? Apparently, I'm the only one that's gonna second these things. Yeah, I'm a,
Y'all know this guy?
Motion passes 6-0.
He was on the roll, so we didn't want to stop it.
No, they're just all the same thing.
they're all the same
They're
thing.
just all the same thing. It's just 6 different things.
Resolution 165 also authorizes an agreement with Larkin Development for the private water and sewer main extensions for Esplanade North. I'm sorry, private sewer main extensions for Esplanade North.
So moved.
Second.
All right. There we go. I like it. Motion from Councilman Fleury, seconded by, who was the second?
Myself again.
Okay, and seconded by Councilman Jenkins. Councilman Bowman, it looks like it didn't register yours. There we go, thank you. Motion passes 6-0.
Mr. Chairman, we had one add-on. It's a resolution to amend Resolution 97 of 2012 to allocate $400,000 for the repair of concrete streets in Newcastle subdivision.
Councilman Bowman? Okay.
Okay.
Seconded by Councilman.
Put me down for all of them.
Go make him the alternate second.
Okay, motion passes 6-0. And we are now under introduction of resolutions. Can you proceed, Mr. Thompson?
173 authorizes the mayor to execute a donation agreement between the City of Shreveport and Willis Knighton Health System, and acting herein through James K. Elroy, President, for the private water main installed in utility service to and related facilities to serve Willis Knighton South Subdivision. Resolution 174 authorizes execution of a retainer agreement with Richard and John ALPC and otherwise provides with respect thereto. Those are the only two resolutions.
Okay, is there any discussion?
Question, Mr. Chairman.
Oh, yes.
On Resolution 173, what size main are we tying into there?
Robert. Does it say in the...
I didn't see it in there.
I'm not exactly sure of the size of that water main that we're tying into there, but I can find that information out and get it for you.
Well, it's just the private water main installed, and I was wondering what we were looking into there. It'd be sufficient.
Well, Willis Knighton's installing a water main, and they're going to be donating the water main to the city is what they're going to be doing.
That's all I needed then.
Yes, sir.
For the question.
Okay, great. So we have got Resolution 173 and 174, which are up for introduction. I'll make the motion to introduce.
Second.
And, okay. Motion passes 5-0 with one abstaining. Does that sound appropriate? Okay.
Well, probably should be two.
Should there be two abstaining?
Mr. Bowman just asked me whether that would matter on introduction, and I said it probably is a gray area, so it may be better to abstain. That's why he abstained.
Okay.
And that was my rationale. That I thought passing and introduction are two different things.
Right. It could be argued. I'm just
being on the safe side.
Yeah.
It's also a donation. I don't think there's anything of economic gain that you're getting from donating, but certainly we could understand if we need to reconsider the vote. Do y'all want to do that? Or?
I don't think Julie's saying they have to.
It's okay.
As I said, I think it was just an abundance of caution.
Just want to make sure
I move
you're
for
comfortable.
reconsideration just to be consistent.
Yeah. Okay. Let's. We've got a motion for reconsideration from Councilman Bradford, and I'll second that. We just don't want to put anybody in a precarious situation, so. And this is.
For reconsideration.
Yeah, for reconsideration. Did you cast? I think you can cast a regular vote on this.
We have to vote. So this is a vote to
Go back to
This is to go back.
reconsider.
Yeah.
Go back
Not
to
the
introduction.
vote of reconsider.
Motion passes 6-0, and now we'll make a new motion to introduce these resolutions. And now let's cast our votes.
Order, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah.
Just out of curiosity, who was the mover on that motion to reconsider?
So moved.
To
The
reconsider, I have Councilman Bradford.
Councilman Bradford was
He was
the,
on the prevailing
He was on the
side.
prevailing side, okay.
yeah, he was on the prevailing side. Yes. And the motion to introduce is from Councilwoman Lynch, seconded by the chair. And that motion passes with 4-0 and 2 abstaining.
Thank
All
you,
right.
attorney.
Thank you, everyone, for doing that correctly.
Keeping us legal.
And now we are at introduction of ordinances. Mr. Thompson, would you proceed with the introduction of ordinances today?
We have ordinance 74, which declares the city's intention to acquire full ownership of certain adjudicated properties for Riverfront Park Extension Improvements Project. Ordinance 75 amends and restates the authorization of the incurrence of debt and issuance, sale, and delivery of an amount not exceeding $42 million of taxable revenue and refunding bonds for the Shreveport Airport System Series 2015A and 2015B, prescribing the form, terms, and conditions of said bonds, designating the date, denomination, and place of payment of said bonds, providing for the payment thereof in principal and interest, and providing for other matters in connection therewith. And Resolution 76 is a zoning matter C-3715. It will amend and reenact Chapter 106 of the Code of Ordinances relative to outdoor book exchange boxes. And one was added, it's ordinance number 77. It amends and reenacts Chapter 14 of the Code of Ordinances relative to livestock and otherwise provides with respect thereto.
Move introductions, Jim.
Second.
All right, and these are motions to be considered for, not to be adopted prior to October 13th. Are there any, is there any additional discussion? Okay, and we will,
Who seconded the motion?
Put me down.
I'm sorry, I don't recall. That motion passes 6-0.
We're now on the ordinances on second reading and final passage. There is one. Ordinance number 73 amends the 2015 capital improvements budget. This is for improvements at Fern and East 70th Street.
So moved.
Second. And this is, a motion passes 6-0. All right, is there any tabled legislation to be considered today?
I'm not aware of any, Mr. Chairman.
All right, and we considered property standards appeals yesterday, and other appeals. This looks like my script might be from yesterday's meeting a little bit, so I'll go off of this one to make sure I don't skip something. Are there any reports from officers, boards, or committees at this time?
Yes. I believe I have proposed, and I'm checking the date of my calendar here, a infrastructure meeting on the Monday. I can't figure out what date it is in October at this moment.
It's October the, you told us at the last meeting.
I believe I've proposed it Monday, the 12th of October at 1:30 p.m. So I'm confirming that. I know we did not do it this week because two of our key members were at a conference. So for Brian, at least y'all schedule, y'all should have 1:30. Barbara knows about it.
Got it.
1:30 on the 12th of October. And we will review the infrastructure report at that time.
Sounds great. Well, thank you for that update. Anybody else today? Seeing none, is there any additional clerk's report? I know the other part of your clerk's report has already been addressed.
I had a report, but Mr. Jenkins
Stole your thunder?
Seconded.
As he has a tendency to do.
Some people are just perpetually looking for ways to get out of work. And I mean, my experience has been in ever constant in my 5 years. But certain areas of this agenda do not get the attention that they deserve, despite my efforts.
Okay, at this time, we're under additional communications. Are there any additional communications from the mayor?
None, thank you.
We appreciate that. Any additional communications from council members?
Mr. Chairman, I have some requests. I don't have them with me. I'm gonna email them. And one in Pacific, Mr. Crawford,
Yes, sir.
there's a development going on down off of South Lakeshore Drive. I think it's adjacent to St. Matthias Episcopal Church. I don't know. And they was wanting street lighting. I don't know if street lighting exists or if they requested street lighting. I'll email you that information and you can look at how we can
We'll certainly
assist
follow
them.
up for you.
Thank you.
Be glad.
And there are several others, including, I got a call from and I don't necessarily like these calls, from a city worker who wanted to know what's the policy on city employees reviewing their personnel file. I'll email you that also.
Absolutely.
And
Glad to
you just
follow
give
up on
me an opinion on that.
Certainly.
Okay. And there's some others, but I'll go through my normal procedures, Jim.
Great.
But I just wanted to know some would be forthcoming.
Yes, sir. Be looking forward.
But one question on streetlights, and this is, since you brought it up, what is the relationship with the payment of the construction of the streetlight, and what is SWEPCO's role? Does anybody know how that construct
Like
works?
a city engineer question, Mr. Councilman.
I think what it is on Robert's Way Up is we purchase the supplies and SWEPCO will change the bulbs. There's a process that they go through.
Well, that is one application. Normally with subdivisions, whenever new streetlight systems are installed, the city has made arrangements with SWEPCO in where the upfront facility charge is paid by the developer. What this is prepaid maintenance of the light facility system for the next 20 years. And then the city pays the normal monthly bill for the streetlight as far as the power usage is concerned.
Okay, and if somebody in an existing neighborhood, well beyond the 20-year, would like a new street light, it falls under the city's expense, and then SWEPCO changes out the bulbs?
If it is an existing streetlight, it is
No.
A new one.
a new one.
Added.
In an old neighborhood.
Okay, if the city's requested to add a new streetlight, we will contact SWEPCO and make the arrangements to add a new streetlight. Yes, sir, in effect, we do pay the upfront facility charge for that new light that's installed under that scenario.
There are some considerations under that. I mean, certainly, I know in the past, there was one situation where it was quite easy. The conditions were fairly easy to put up a street light in one location, and then there was another time where I've had several people in another area that have requested street lights, but because of the conditions of where the electric lines are or where the other street lights are, those were considerably more expensive. So there are some factors that can affect the ability to do street lights, but certainly I think the city engineer's office was very helpful in answering those questions to me, and even had some sort of prepared information I was able to provide to some of the constituents. So I would reach out to, I think it was maybe traffic engineering that I spoke to.
Yes, sir, they're the ones that normally coordinate streetlights with SWEPCO.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I have a question for Robert. Robert,
Yes, sir.
have you any history in the last 5 years SWEPCO ever putting up a light?
We do have some history of SWEPCO installing lights in the areas that were requested by citizens.
Well, if anybody in this room can explain to me how to get SWEPCO to fix a light that burns non-stop, I would like you to give me your telephone number or direct me and guide me in how to do it, because I've had lights in the last 2 months that have burned since 1950, and the base and everything going, and I still have not gotten through on their 800 number in Ohio.
Wait, the light is burned out, or is
No, it's burning non-stop,
turn off.
24 hours 7.
Okay.
In a situation like that, light poles generally have photoelectric eyes, and they sense when sunlight hits it and it cuts the light system off. In those particular cases, a lot of times birds have built nests on top of those eyes, and so subsequently the light continually seizes at nighttime 24/7. So it's a matter of maintenance of that particular line.
I understand. I'm very familiar with the photocell. I used to climb poles for a living.
Oh, very good.
So I'm very familiar with it. But what I want to know is how I get that 800 number with SWEPCO answered.
Okay, Stephanie wants to know what kind of poles.
Councilman Fleury, I will tell you what I have found in my experience with light poles to be very effective and very efficient.
I agree with this.
Is you go to the website, you type it in that website, and I mean, they don't have it fixed or replaced in 5 days. Somehow it circumvents the entire system and goes to somebody that actually puts it on. So don't mess with the phone number. You go right to that SWEPCO. You pull a little tag from the light pole, type it in. Bingo.
It is definitely the fastest way to get a response.
Lieutenant Colonel Oliver Jenkins, on behalf of the people in District E, we thank you for that information.
Let me tell you, you learn your lesson after you spend time on that deal.
That's right.
And I got my system, and that system works.
I got it. Thank you.
It's so true, and I
Thank
don't
you,
know
Robert.
why that is, but for whatever reason, you can literally be talking to the manager of field operations, and you can tell
Thank
them,
you very
this
much.
light is out. But somehow, if you enter it on that website, it happens faster than the guy, if you were talking
Well,
to the guy
thank
who
you
was there
very much.
changing
I
it.
appreciate
So,
that.
Definitely, that's a great recommendation. Okay, Councilwoman Lynch.
I just wanted to have, I just had a few words to the folks in my district.
Help people out.
There is one saying that I would like for you all to keep in mind, and I'm talking to my district now, but I realize that there are other folks listening, and you can listen if you want to. But I would like for everyone to keep in mind, as we go forward, there's a saying that says, a closed mouth does not get fed. Y'all heard that before? A closed mouth does not get fed.
Okay, but if you don't want to listen to that message, you can also ignore that message.
Anyway, Oliver. but I have a scripture for Oliver. Y'all help me with it. There is a scripture that's similar to that says, you have not because you ask not. For folks that need that. So I'm asking my constituents to continue to speak up and to speak out and to speak about the concerns that we have, for what we feel that we need in our communities and in our neighborhoods. Now, I know that Oliver knows the difference between a pint of Crown and a fifth of Crown. And
go with it. You can tell me that.
There's a big difference between a pint and a fifth.
Okay.
And a fifth of our mayor's votes last year came from District F. Of the votes cast, 80 to 90% of those went to Ms. Tyler. Thank y'all for that. Appreciate it. And you elected me as the best person to work with her in representing the interests of District F. And we're going to do that, and we've been doing that. And I appreciate the support that she and her administration have given the district in addressing the needs and concerns that have been brought to our attention thus far. But there are many, many more needs. I mean, as I ride around, I'm still seeing too much light and litter. Some of it is some stuff that we can do something about and not allow certain conditions to remain and continue, and you drive by and you act like you don't really see it's there. I was out at a residence today in Sunset Acres, and the neighbor came out and started talking about how the rats come out and play while they're sitting outside next door. They're so big and they're so bold that they're just outside, playing while everybody's, outside trying to enjoy this good weather we have. That's something that's unacceptable. And we need to have things like that reported. And, we don't know if you don't inform us of some of these conditions in some of the areas. We won't know unless those get reported. So I'm still asking that we contact, of course you can call me, 532-3326. The mayor's office, 673-5050, correct? Is that the
Correct.
number you want
Yes,
me to
ma'am.
have? 673-5050. And I had, let me see, and I want to punch this, because I want to,
I think it's changing.
okay, I want to make sure.
Go
that
back.
Go back.
I think it automatically went to your end.
Okay. This
Okay.
is one that we, Property Standards dealt with a couple of weeks ago. If this is next door to you, anywhere in District F, please give us a call and let us know so that we can take care of it. Now, I don't have the after picture, but this was the before picture. I mean, it was dramatically different once we addressed it, okay? You live next door to something looks like this, we need to know about it. And what's that number for Property Standards? 673-6200. Get that reported, okay? Did I do that right? I'm seeing brush, people just driving by brush. Just about everybody has a cell phone now. Call and let us know when you see brush throughout the neighborhood. Just report it, and we'll get it, taken care of. First of all, we would like for you not to just put it out there and not call to let us know that it needs to be picked up. And I believe that number is 673. Is that still 6200? If they have brush that needs to be picked up. 673-6300. If you see brush, and some of it, I mean down Hollywood, at Hollywood and Bethune, there's brush that's been there, I know, 3 weeks. There are folks that live directly in front of that brush, and and evidently they have not called about it. This was another house in the neighborhood, that I think we're addressing again. We want to know where these houses are, where these problems are, where people are doing drugs and all kind of other ungodly things in structures like this that are, on streets with seniors. And I have a lot of seniors in my district, and they're expressing a lot of fear. One, for even reporting, some of these incidents. The one I went out to today, the person was, was afraid to even report it for fear, of retaliation. But give us a call. We'll take care of it. We're not, here to put your name out there or anything like that. But we do need to know what's happening in these communities. And so we're just asking you to continue to work with us. And the mayor has committed to addressing the litter and the blight. This council is going to, continue to work throughout all the districts to make sure, that happens. So I appreciate it, and I appreciate my colleagues for working with me to address the concerns of my district. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Are there any additional communications from council members?
I can make this request, Mayor.
Absolutely.
I attended the Stone Lake subdivision neighborhood meeting last week. Will a shoot drive between Lake Shore and South Lake Shore? They want at least 2 signs of your slogan.
Wonderful.
So they would request that. You know the street I'm talking about?
Get with me later.
Okay,
And
I'll send it to you.
Let me
It's,
know.
yeah, it's Stone Lake subdivision between South Lake Shore Extension and South Lake Shore. It's just one street that runs from one to the other, but I'll give you that street. They want 2 on both ends of the street.
Signs.
2 signs. They said that people come down that street and they litter, they want to think that would help.
Take care of it.
I see you
Thank
will
you.
take care of it.
Well, thank you. And I did want to call, before we move on to public comments, I did want to invite Mark Sweeney has a guest with him that he wanted to introduce that pertains to one of the items that's on our agenda for further consideration at our next meeting.
Thank you very much. I just wanted to introduce to you Richard John, who is the individual that's been selected to be our attorney for the MPC. Richard is a partner in the law firm of Smith & John, and his partner is Kenneth Craig Smith Jr., and he has been practicing since 1993 law. He is a graduate of Loyola College Preparatory as well as Tulane University, where he got his BA, and he got his Juris Doctor at LSU. And he has a tremendous depth of experience working with various clients related to land use related issues and real estate related properties that he has represented over the years. He comes highly recommended. We evaluated him in a pool of different candidates for consideration for this position, and we feel as though he is the right choice, and I wanted him just to say a few words to you. And so here is Richard.
Hello, Mayor, council members. Just want to tell you I hope that this works out. I'm anxious to do this. I look forward to working with Mr. Sweeney and the MPC. You know, like you said, I've lived here all my life with the exception of going to school. And, you know, I like what I'm seeing. Mayor was talking about all the activity we have going on in Shreveport. I think that the MPC can, you know, as the city grows, it can help with those type of things to make sure our city continues to grow. And so I hope that I am able to help, you know, the MPC with that and move their agenda forward.
Thank you. Anybody?
Thank you.
If anybody has any questions, I'll.
Yeah, I have a question, Mr. Chairman. Mr. John, thank you for coming down. I appreciate that. And yesterday was some discussion regarding the capacity of in the Pacific area of law that you practice.
Yes, sir.
And I think I got a call today regarding the fee.
Yes.
The fee was an issue. Give me some examples of your experiences in dealing with land use issues that's within the municipalities of that sort of distinguish you from other attorneys.
I've been practicing now for I think 22 years. Over my entire time I've been practicing, I've helped private clients with land matters, advising them on, you know, issues concerning zoning, advising them on issues concerning general real estate issues. I've litigated real estate issues. I've appeared. I'm not one of those that you see before the council a lot because I don't have a large amount of clients. My clients that I work with, especially in the real estate portion of it, you know, I mean, I deal with them and they don't always have a lot of issues, but a lot of times we're solving them before they get to a council level or to an appeal level. I have appeared before ZBA, the municipal MPC. I've appeared before the council before arguing for clients. I've just over the years I've represented, you know, those clients and have done that throughout my practice.
But the scope of your service is not limited to land use. I mean, you practice other areas.
Yes, sir, I do. I originally, when I first started practicing, I was on my own. Okay. So I kind of did anything that anybody would pay me to do that I could make some money out of. And I quickly learned there were some things I did not like doing. My story with that is domestic work. I thought, you know, maybe I'm just, you know, my clients don't have enough money. Maybe if I got a wealthy client that could pay me, and maybe I'd like domestic work. And I did 2 cases at the same time that I was well paid for, and I said, I still hate it. So, you know, that type of stuff I didn't do. But again, so I had a very general practice where I did a lot of things. I did end up, I did a lot of litigation. I did personal injury. I did a lot of municipal liability litigation. Over time, I've spent a lot of time in federal court over issues. I mean, from anything. I mean, just varied issues. I mean, whether it's patent law or which, you know, I've been, you know, helping people with on those. That's not something I would step out on my own and do. But I mean, just any kind of issue I've been involved with in that regard.
Thank you. And the reason I'm happy and appreciate you coming today, because again, I got a call, and I guess it's accurate, city attorney, that the fee that you was action has been renegotiated. And that's consistent with other contract attorneys.
Yes, sir. And if I may say, just without discussing details on that, you know, I mean, I am used to, you know, the bulk of my practice has always been with private clients. And so we had a good conversation about, look, it's a governmental client, and you kind of have to look at things a little bit differently. And it kind of sparked a conversation myself with some other attorneys today that I called and said, look, am I looking at this wrong? And they said, yes. They said, you know, they said, this is kind of how you have to approach it and look at it. So, you know, again, that's part of the process Mark and I have talked about throughout. And you know, I told him in the panel when we talked, I said, you know, look, I want to have an open communication. I think a client has to be able to ask me questions and has to be able to have discussions with me. And so I believe we've reached something that seems to be acceptable to everybody
I'm
on
happy
that.
about that, because again, I want to meet you because, I mean, you know, I thought you was an oil and gas lawyer. I was going to suggest.
No, I missed that boat. I wish I would. I wish I would have bought a bunch of land in DeSoto Parish in the 90s, and I forgot to. But and I do own a real estate company. We do title work, and so I work in that field, you know, quite a bit as well, which we're dealing with these issues that I'll be facing with the MPC quite a bit.
Well, Sweeney spoke well of you and thought you was the right guy to help in that endeavor. So thank you, and I look forward to getting great results from your support of.
I hope to not disappoint, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much.
What high school did you graduate from?
Loyola. It was just turned from Jesuit, and
okay.
so I missed the area with the girls being there.
Any additional questions? All right. Thank you so much for being here. We appreciate it.
Thank you. Nice to
Thank
meet
you.
you.
Indeed.
Thank you, Mr. Sweeney, for bringing them down.
Yes, thank you. I appreciate that, and I told him he didn't have to come back on the 13th, so that's why I wanted him to talk to y'all today.
Okay.
So, again, thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you. See, I do now. If there are no additional communications from council members, we are under public comments, and I have 3 requests for public comments. I'll start with, in the order they were received, with Mr. Rob Broussard.
Subdivision.
Oh, and I'm sorry, Rob. I said I was going to do them in the order they were received, and I actually had Sammy's first. Do you mind if he goes first?
Please.
I apologize. I just got him out of order. That was my fault.
Fair and balanced.
There we go.
That's you all right. Sammy Mears, 1901 Centenary Boulevard, Shreveport, Louisiana 71101. This time I have to come with a prepared statement because of something that happened just recently. I come here today with a concerned matter that happened just 2 weeks ago here at the City Council that must be talked about because I was not very happy when I left this council. And I got my reasons for it too. I stood here before the City Council talking about don't be disrespectful 2 weeks ago. And when I said don't be disrespectful, 2 people were disrespectful. Especially when one accused everybody here of being on Mars, which they were not. I didn't see no spaceship anywhere in this chamber. I didn't see anyone wearing any green Martian antennas going beep, 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 beep. That was just the most ridiculous thing I ever heard. Now, 2 people yelled and screamed and hollered here at the City Council meeting, and I felt not only disrespected myself, I was hurt. I didn't find this little game anywhere funny or amusing. And I don't know how in the world anybody could have done such a thing like this. I think these 2 people know who they were. They probably didn't even mean for me to feel hurt. But then, of course, even if they didn't mean it, what would you expect? Because I look at this situation and I feel like after I got a little advice from somebody saying to remind everyone here, we are peacemakers. We're not peace breakers. And that had to be brought up today. Because I thought it really hurt. I believe that I was so disappointed that when I left, I went straight to bed and about maybe 7 or something like that. And I didn't wake up until about maybe 8 a.m. the next morning. I felt like I should have been apologized to. Of course, I doubt that they're even here, but if they were, I just wonder if they would make an apology, or if anybody would. And when I said don't be disrespectful, I just wondered, did I get through to anybody here 2 weeks ago? And if I did, I hope that somebody will nod their head yes, because I do believe that what I said was very important. And it's important that we remember not to be disrespectful, because like when somebody is talking at anything and people in the back are just disrespectful, that's disrespectful. We want to be respectful and rights and courteous of others. So I thought I wanted to share this today, and if I were to go over 3 minutes, which I doubt that I will, I would have asked for more time. If that doesn't happen, I'm not going to even worry about it. I just wanted to say what I had to say and just to get that out of the way today. Thank you.
Thank you very much,
Thank you very
Sammy.
much, Sam.
We appreciate that, and I'm sure that those people didn't mean offense, but I hope that they realize the weight of their words can hurt people. So we have to always be
Right.
careful with what we say and how we say it. And I think that was
Nobody was from Mars.
I think that was a nice reminder. So thank you very much. All of our words do have meanings, and they have impacts. So we appreciate that reminder. And now Rob Broussard. Thank you so much, Rob. I apologize for.
And I do appreciate your comment.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, Rob Broussard, 451 Sanford, Shreveport, Louisiana.
Thank you.
Thank you. Chairman, Mayor Tyler, got three quick things. First of all, I'd like to say that in line with what the City Council and the Mayor has addressed earlier about activities, October 16th, again, Family Fest, AC Steer. We expect over 1,500 people, families, coming out. We're working in conjunction with Schumpert and Spar. And I'd like to also recognize that one of the people in this audience that never says anything is Miss Bonnie Moore, who helps us tremendously in a lot of our efforts with the Broadmoor Neighborhood Association. I say thank you. You don't get those accolades as much as you should. Okay, but we have those things, and it's going to be kid-oriented. That's coming on the 16th. It's going to include a movie in the park. Okay, we're also going to target small businesses by giving them an opportunity to meet and greet those 1,400 to 1,700 people that would be coming. We want to encourage citizens to spend their money in the Broadmoor area and help our small businesses grow and become successful, because they're the people who fund many of the activities that we do in this town through their taxes. If any small businesses want to get involved in that activity, please call Benita Crawford at 423-5010. Benita Crawford. She is the chairperson that's going to head up our small business activities. And Lieutenant Colonel, we are moving forward with the issue on the Oxford houses. We've talked to UDC, but we really need to get something in writing, because what Ms. Lynch said is absolutely true. If you don't bring it up and if you don't stay after it, it doesn't happen. We need to get a committee together or someone appointed that will help us move forward in trying to determine what the rights are of our citizens in our neighborhood, as well as those residents of the Oxford House, so that we can be more knowledgeable in what's happening in our neighborhood concerning that thing. Also, we had a wonderful forum last Tuesday night for the district attorneys. It was applauded by the candidates and the audience as being fair and balanced. We're going to host the commission forum tonight, 7 o'clock, Broadmoor Presbyterian Church. And there are 5 candidates who are looking to seek those offices in District 4 and 8. Our format, while one media person called it boring, is very structured. We seek questions from our members before the forum. Our board of directors chooses those questions, and those are the questions that are asked our candidates. They're tough questions, as Mayor Tyler can attest, and many of you, that they're not fluff balls. We try to hold everybody's feet to the fire.
So moved for additional time.
Object.
Okay.
Object.
Okay. We need to take a vote if there is.
Right.
There was no second.
Yeah, if there's a second
Second to yours?
for additional time.
Yeah, second.
Okay. So, there's a motion for additional time.
Yes. And let me just, yes, we're trying to be consistent in
I
our
understand.
use of 3 minutes, so I want to make sure that there's no,
No, I can say thank you right now. You don't even need to vote. We've got
Okay.
the most
We'll
of
do
it
that.
done.
Thank you so much.
I appreciate
We
your.
appreciate it, Rob.
holding
Thank
to
you
the
very much.
T. Thank you.
And certainly look forward to that Family Fest and the other activities that were put out there. I grew up in Broadmoor, so I always have a fond place for it. Great to hear that. All right, next request for public comments we have is Ken Kreft, also from Broadmoor.
Kenneth Kraft, 157 Archer, Shreveport, 71105. We like boring. We don't like Ellaby Road excitement like last Tuesday night when they had the sheriff telling a questioner to shut up and apologizing. I've never had that, and I've done 17 forums. Speaking of forums, the police chief, I understand, just told me he wants to err on the side of caution and not allow uniformed officers to be there. That didn't bother 8 previous chiefs at 17 forums. When Ms. Tyler debated, we had uniformed officers there. When Cedric debated, specifically, I ranked 9-1206. Cedric, Jerry, Arlena, Liz, Max, and 4 others. Corporal, sergeant, a lieutenant, never a problem, but I understand he's cautious, so we'll call the city marshal. But I'm pointing out that courts have ruled that a uniformed officer can be at a nonpartisan political forum as long as 2 conditions are met. There's no charge to get in. It's free. You walk in the door. And there's no endorsement by the association of any candidate. And even though we can do that legally as a 501c4, we've never done it. We did endorse the quarter-cent sales tax for police and fire under Mayor Hightower, which passed almost 2.5 to 1. So we have endorsed propositions to help public safety officers and firefighters. But I just find it odd that this is the first chief who is erring on the side of caution, even though I can cite court cases where uniformed officers can be there. Now, where they cannot be, they cannot go to the forum if candidate X is selling tickets for chicken for $10 each. That's forbidden because that's a fundraiser. That's not allowed. We're not doing that. National Night Out, 2 weeks from tonight. 3 years ago is when I told Chief Shaw and Chief Mulford, y'all gonna be 11 million short next year. Huh? Bill Gooden was there. He came over, said, got a quarter-cent sales tax going to expire at the end of the year. Better hurry up and call a council meeting. I had the back of those guys. They did the next morning. Technically, I think they called it illegally because it wasn't a 24-hour notice. Still surprised John Settle didn't file a lawsuit. They had an election, and it passed 2 to 1. We would have had to lay off numerous firefighters and police officers. So National Night Out can be positive. Public safety, a comment about which I've spoken for 35 years. You know, instead of arguing for 2.5 years with the previous mayor of the council about Mr. Grigsby and, oh gosh, we've been distracted on Little Free Libraries. When are we going to do a 9/11 building that can take a hit from a tornado? Yeah, I know the sheriff's got a mobile van, but let's get some storm sirens and tornadoes before it's too late. And we do a fine job in this city of strict accountability with our dollars. As Rob mentioned, Ms. Moore and her people got to write a check, got to have a receipt, got to have a canceled check, and you'll get your NIP money to be reimbursed. Lord, I wish other local bodies, specifically the school board and the commission, had half the accounting integrity standards we do with our money. It's a shame that they don't. They could learn a lot from this city, which has very good auditing standards and things like that. Once again, thank you. And E and C got confused. C said to use the internet, and E said to call. You should be the call, and he should be the email.
Right.
Yeah. Well, got it.
Okay. Let's see. The next request I have to speak is Jeanette Smith. Jeanette Smith. It appears this is a question about an overgrown tree. So they may have had an opportunity to address this directly. We'll call one more time. Are you Miss Smith? Oh, please come up to the podium and.
While she's coming, I wish people would stop beating up on the commission.
Public Service
Commission?
Commission?
No, the Caddo Parish
Oh, Caddo
Commission,
Parish.
who has very fine accounting standards. They're GFOA certified, and commission's got more money and a higher bond rating and all of that. So, it's a fine institution. The city
They might not after you leave, though,
The
Steph.
city has worked with them, greatly and cooperatively over the last, since I was on the commission for 11 years. So, and I know you all don't feel that way. I'm just saying. I'm just taking up for my old body. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Miss Smith, if you could just tell us your name and your address, tell us your name and your address, and then let us know what your concern is.
All right, good afternoon. My name is Jeanette Marilyn Smith, 1629 Myrtle with a Y, Myrtle Street in Shreveport, zip code 71101-2411. I am sandwiched between, and I hope I'm not talking too loudly, but I've lost significant hearing and I don't sound loud to myself. So if I'm too loud, just tell me, bring it down.
You're fine.
Good afternoon. I'm sandwiched between two lots, well, a bunch of lots, but I'm concerned mainly with the ones on the east, one on the east side and one on the west side. The one on the west side has this very huge tree that's been there for at least 7 decades. And it's been trimmed every now and then. Back when SWEPCO used to cut them back from the lines, they said they don't do it like that anymore. The city would not, the workers wouldn't go on the lot because they said they didn't know who it belonged to. I have since found out that both lots belong to the city of Shreveport, okay? This tree needs to be cut because the heavy side of that tree is towards my house. It's covering the front yard, at least 1 to 2/5 of it, leaning toward. And since the wind is coming in from the west, southwest, swinging around, it's a bit of a chore to try to keep up with those limbs that are falling and blowing all over the place. For example, there's one limb that fell when they came through cutting the lots, and that limb is approximately 2.5 in length, 2.5 times my height. Okay, and they are large limbs, not just the little baby limbs. I'm talking about serious limbs, and these branches and all whatever are dying. They've come through the neighborhood. They've sprayed the grass to put it down and all of that, and those trees got sprayed too. Recently, last week before last, they came out and repaired a gas leak in front of that tree. And under that tree, on that side where that leak is, those leaves have already changed. I thought, okay, well, the weather's going to change, right? But the side of the tree that's toward my house and away from that leak, those leaves are still green. So right there where the gas leak is, those limbs are starting to do something terrible, and those leaves are dying. So I have to look out for my house.
Well, it sounds like you have multiple concerns,
One
and
more
I know
thing.
there are. So in the on this side of the room are Terrence Green, who is with Property Standards, and Dwan Gillum, who is the Director of Public Works. I think both of them will be able to be very helpful to you. So I'd like to see. I see they've been listening to you.
Main thing.
So if we could have y'all discuss this,
If the
I think they
city
can
of
help.
Shreveport is not willing to see about this tree being trimmed, I need to get permission. I'm not just asking, I'm telling you. I need to get permission so that I can get someone on a private basis to go on that lot and trim that tree. And I don't have a lot of money, but I will pay for it.
Well, we certainly appreciate that offer,
Well,
and
I just
and
want-
if I
I want
could,
you to know from
could
both
you guys
sides.
wave
I'm-
your hands so that she'll know if you could look over there?
I'm
that's-
not coming to chew anybody out or anything like that.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that this is a situation that has gone on, and on and on.
We
So now I'm
appreciate you bringing the concern to our attention, and I think those two gentlemen will be able to help you. So
Okay, I hope
please look for them and see if y'all can discuss
Now, they're
it.
not going to tell me go to the Department of Transportation in Bossier City, are they?
No. I can't always answer with certainty, but I'm sure they will not tell you that.
No, I've been told that too.
Okay.
No.
Well, thank you for coming to us today.
Right over here.
And they're right over here, Miss Smith. And finally, I have Mr. Jules Jernigan.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
My name's Jules V. Jernigan, address 6910 Oak Hill Circle, 71106. I'm coming to the board again. I've spoken with Mr. Bowman. This is not a chewing session. This is just trying to get this situation taken care of. 2900 block of Chestnut, over about 30, 35 years of erosion. We have a serious ditch in front of the 2945 Chestnut Street. We've also encountered a sewage problem that is on the city side. It's in front of a house. He walked off 30 feet from his house, and it is on the city side. He informed me that the sewage manhole has several hundred roaches in it, which can travel back up the lines and go into the homes. We've since sprayed the exteriors of the home, covered up any access that they may come into the homes to do that. When they were clearing that area over there, they had a track hoe, which is very heavy. And the tracks went over that area where the sewage is leaking. So I'm just wanting some action done. I requested some signage put up. It was inadequate, meaning that there was one sign up there. The temporary barricades that I placed up there, they're still in place, and there's no signage in that area. And I actually witnessed a mail truck pull up in our driveway, bag up, and he was inches away from falling into that hole. I'm just asking the council, Bowman, anyone that can get this done to address it.
Again, it sounds like something that's going to be...
Well, I spoke with Mr. Gillum about it already, and I think we're going to try to go out there tomorrow. I went by there last week myself and saw...
You did see the
ditch? Yeah, went to the ditch itself, but I don't think it was the right...
signage?
That he wanted out there. So we're going out there to try tomorrow. I'm thinking tomorrow, and we'll try to get that fixed.
Okay, and just the gentleman that lives in the house next door to my mom, he has extensive knowledge of road work. And he had several suggestions, and I'm not gonna, question the integrity of streets and drainage or what have you, but this is an easy fix, and it would keep, my mother safe from somebody getting in the ditch and coming up and, inconveniencing her or causing a situation that would put her at risk, because the streets aren't adequate enough for people to gain access and get out.
Got it. Got it. Well, we appreciate you bringing the concern to us, and it sounds like Councilman Bowman has discussed it, and certainly Mr. Gillum is the right person for him to be working with. So it sounds like they're on the right track.
Okay, and with my 22 seconds, I'd like to commend the City Council, Mayor Hightower, and... I'm sorry, Tyler. What else I say, Hightower?
Way
back. Holly Tyler.
No, he's looking at you, Brian. That's what it is.
That's what it was. Thank you for getting me out of there.
We work together now.
You're off the
hook. Jules is a firefighter, so
Oh, okay.
we go way back.
Appreciate it. All right.
Yeah, I mean, another 2 years and y'all's hair
Chairman,
before we
adjourn, Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, observation. I appreciate Councilman Fleury objection to the extension, but yet the preview of continuing time is this council. Because after we discussed yesterday, I think it would have been somewhat hypocritical for us to continue to do that. But I saw something that we need to consider. Mr. Broussard gave us some information at first. Then he went into giving us some announcements, and we talked about that early on about getting events publicized. Is there opportunity where we have additional communications that if anybody from the audience or from any neighborhood group or any group for that matter would give any announcements that they have regarding their neighborhoods to the clerk or to the deputy clerk, and add where it says additional communications, those announcements, instead of those public comments being extended into announcements. I just think that would be an opportunity to get that information in, but at the same time, not penalize somebody for extension of time when all they want to do is share some information.
That's a good idea. I think, you know, we might be able to look at some opportunity for if people only want to share an announcement, maybe they can, you know, maybe they can write that on there. We can adjust the form, perhaps. We'll certainly consider that. I think it would provide an opportunity. Another thing it reminds me of, even though it's a little off subject, but you know, one thing that in Baton Rouge, their Chamber of Commerce worked with their community foundation there to establish one consistent community calendar. And everybody in the city uses this one community calendar. The city, the parish, private groups, neighborhood associations, restaurants and bars, people planning festivals, everybody uses one calendar, and it helps people to really be able to coordinate. But they do, you know, that while it sounds like something that we can all participate as a group, it does take a fair bit of maintenance to make something like that work. And so they, you know, they raised a fund that pays for continued maintenance on a site like that. But that might be something we want to work with some of our partners in the community to work towards, because you know, that would be at least a one-stop shop for people to find out about any event, be it a church event or a private event, whatever it is. Yeah, that's a good one consistent spot. So something we might want to consider. Any additional communications?
Or they can get those announcements to their city councilman.
That's true. They can share it with
Yeah, or even you can recognize the individual during that period where who would you like to recognize, and you can recognize somebody come up and they can bang out their five.
During the
very beginning.
During the very beginning of the meeting.
Very beginning of the meeting.
Yeah. So if we
When
know
we recognize people, it doesn't mean necessarily exclusively just recognize them in the audience. It's the opportunity for them to come up and
give an announcement.
Okay, but how much time is this announcement though? I mean, then you prolonging the meeting that we have. So how much time?
Well, hopefully you would have had some communication with the person beforehand and asked them to.
Just ask. I'd like to know.
Yeah, I mean, but that would be if you're calling somebody up under recognition, and that would be under communications. And technically, those communications are supposed to be limited to a 15-minute total. So.
Put it under the clerk's report.
I'm just saying, you'll have 10 people up here with 15 minutes, which
yeah, but the answer is 15 minutes. Yeah, so you know, we wouldn't want to make it a habit of calling up everybody in somebody's district to announce their events, but certainly it could be you know, a good time if you had somebody that wanted to discuss more.
But I want to be friendly, residential friendly. You know, I mean, and if it's something we want to know, I really want to know what he's going to potentially say. But anyway.
All right.
Church announcement.
Well, we may have some more additional discussion for the good of the order, but I believe we've taken care of our official business today, and for that reason, I'll call us adjourned.
That's anniversary. We have past anniversary next Sunday.
Yeah, right. That's what you have.
No, it has to be civic. It has to be civic oriented.
I don't want to hear about
Terrence.
You have to Terrence. What the